Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Sorbo. Kevin, welcome to the show. Welcome to Become Your Own Superhero.
Hey, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me on. It's good to talk to the part of the world that's near and dear to my heart. New Zealand and Australia combined are a big part of my life. Probably 9 years of my life have been spent down in those areas.
Well, that was the catch card that I really used to get your attention, Kevin. And I'm a very proud New Zealander, and my beautiful fiance Anna here is from the great country of Russia, but was always a massive fan of New Zealand. So again, we're so appreciative that you made the time to join us today, and we're very excited. Kevin, I want to start with a curly one.
All right.
I just played you off camera the wedding song to your beautiful wife, Sam Sorbo.
Yes.
Can you share with us how you met this extraordinary woman?
On the set of Hercules, actually. She came down each episode took about 2.5 weeks to film, and every episode they always brought down a beautiful woman for me to work with. So it was a great dating service for me. And that's how we ended up meeting on the show. She came down, it was season 4, she came down there, and I'm a big flirt. And I started flirting with her right away, and she's laughing at me because I said, "How are we going to make this work?" And she says, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Well, we got this thing called the Pacific Ocean, this large water hazard between us, and I'm in New Zealand, you're up there in Los Angeles." And she laughs at me and she says, "Look, number one, I don't date actors. Number two, I don't date guys with long hair," because back then I had long Hercules hair, of course. And I said, "Well, I'm making pretty good money with the long hair right now," but I just kept bugging her. I wore down, and a week later we went out on our first date, and I don't know, we just hit it off, and it just sort of accelerated from there. She came down to do, I think it was like the second to the last episode of the year, and then we kept in touch during the next episode I was shooting. She's back in LA. She was working on a series called Chicago Hope at the time, and I flew from New Zealand to Slovakia, Bratislava, Slovakia, to shoot a movie there called Call the Conqueror, called the prequel to Conan the Barbarian. And I flew her over, and she spent like 3 weeks with me there. And we got a call during that time. The studio, Universal Studios, had no idea that we were seeing each other at the time. They called me up in Slovakia there, and they said, "Hey, we really like the chemistry between you and Sam Jenkins. Do you think, could you work with her again?" They're really nice to me to make sure that I like. And I said, "Yeah, she's all right. Why? What do you got in mind?" And they said, "Well, we've got a three show arc, so she'd be down there for about 6.5 weeks." So I told her that, and then that was it. I mean, we had all that, we had about 2.5 months that we spent quite a bit of time together, and I proposed within 6 months. So there you go.
Kevin, I feel truly blessed that I met a person of my dreams. How did you realize that Sam was the one?
It's weird. It sounds corny, but I think it's a chemistry thing. I think it's you can be attracted to people in your life, but it was more than that. It was just we worked on a Friday night together. My brother was visiting. My older brother Tom was visiting with his son, my nephew Craig, and they had only been in town about 2 or 3 days, and we had a 3-day weekend. So we worked on Friday together. And then we flew down to Queenstown because we went skiing down there. And it was weird that during the ski trip, the whole time I'm thinking of this girl, and I only met her one day. And I had weird images of getting a house and a dog and a picket fence and all this stupid stuff that I never would have thought of doing, because I was pretty much a confirmed bachelor well into my 30s, and I was in my mid 30s. And I was the only one of my family that wasn't married. All my 4 siblings got married in their 20s. My parents gave up on me because I seemed to have a different girlfriend every Christmas. So it was weird for me to have these thoughts. And I told my brother about it, and he's going, "Well, man, I don't know. It sounds like something's happening here." And I'm very good at my dialogue. I memorize my lines well. I hit my marks. I do stuff. That first night working there, I lost looking at her straight on. I couldn't remember my dialogue, which was weird. And she thought I was being either a jerk or a guy that wasn't professional. And I looked at Michael Hurst, who played Eolus, my sidekick on the show, and I said, "Michael, help me out." He goes, "Dude, you're on your own," because he could tell something was going on. So I kind of knew right away. It was like a lightning bolt.
Well, you've given a lot of men hope, Kevin, because I was 38 when I met Anna, and for anyone that's listened to any of the previous podcasts, they know that Anna is the woman that I knew that I wanted to meet, but was really beginning to think it wasn't going to happen, and it was the result of really the back end of 5 years of hard work, of transformation, and putting myself in a position where I could truly be loved, and reading your book or a couple of your books now, and doing more and more research, trying to really understand who you are, I've got a newfound appreciation for you, and apart from your book being hilarious, it's really inspirational. So we're very grateful for that.
I didn't want to write that book. I'll be honest with you. I mean, for those that don't know, at the end of season 5 on Hercules, I suffered 3 strokes, and it was out of aneurysm way up here in my shoulder. I didn't know about that. I'd been spitting blood clots into my arm, and I was having all kinds of problems with my hand was cold. These fingers were really numb. My arm was aching, bugging me. But I was shooting 12 to 14 hours a day. I was lifting weights an hour and a half every day. I was getting maybe 4 hours of sleep. And after 5 years of that, I think that had something to do with my getting sick. But to basically get three blood clots into the brain, I mean, I could have been killed. I could have been paralyzed the rest of my life. I guess I was lucky in one way where it affected my vision and affected my balance. But it took 4 months to learn how to walk and balance again to some degree. And it took me 3 years to fully recover. I mean, I still have symptoms. I still have a 10% loss of vision in both eyes that I've gotten used to. But I still have balance issues when I get really tired, but people wouldn't be able to tell. But the last couple of years in Hercules were grueling for me. They were tough. I went from a 14-hour day to 1 or 2 hours a day. They had to work around me. And my wife bugged me to write this book, and I didn't want to write it because the male ego, right? You don't want it to show people how weak you become. And I'm playing Hercules on top of it. And she said, "You don't understand, Kevin. People know you around the world. I mean, by the season 3, we actually became the most watched TV show in the world. We're in 176 countries. In Russia, I got a lot of fan letters from Russia, I got to tell you."
I was your youngest one.
So I wrote the book, and I didn't want it. I wanted it to be motivational, and it's amazing. My wife was right, because when I started going to bookstores and doing autograph shows and signing my book, I had people came up to me that were not only stroke survivors, but cancer survivors, car crash, heart attack, whatever it may be. And they said, "Your book motivated me to stop feeling sorry for myself." And the True Strength title really came from on Hercules. I had a bunch of stunt guys making me look like a big stud, okay? I mean, I was doing most of my own fight scenes. I loved it because I'm an athlete, and I loved just the choreography of it all. And my stunt guys were awesome. And the book was called True Strength because we're all going to hit a roadblock in life. You just don't know when it's going to happen. I don't care what age you are. You're always we're going to hit many times when life doesn't work out the way we want it to work out, whether it's an illness, whether it's losing a job, going through a divorce, whatever these things may be that are huge on people's lives. You got to come up with a way, instead of blaming God, the world, the universe, family, friends, you got to look in the mirror. I mean, you can cue Michael Jackson's song, Man in the Mirror, but you got to look in the mirror and say, you know what? What am I going to do? It happened. Okay. Am I going to sit here and whine the rest of my life, or am I going to push forward and try to get through this? And if I ever got too down, my wife would be the one that would, smack me. She's a tough New Yorker. So she just said, it happened, Kevin. Now you're going to feel sorry for yourself or do something about it. And thank God I'm a strong-willed person. And that was formulated in my early years because of my parents. I'll say my dad ruled the family with soft thunder hands, He was a very low-key guy, but boy, when you got him mad, you got him mad. So, but there was strictness there without taking the belt off all the time, So we learned about being self-sufficient and working hard very early in life. And that carried through for me, and I'm passing that on to my boys.
Yeah, well, Lynn and Artis, your mum and dad, and you're second generation Norwegian.
Yep.
Which I'm a huge fan of Norway and everything that Norway offers. But the thing that struck me, just talking about what you're saying before, Kevin, the allergy to MSG that you found out that you had, the catalyst for my health and the transformation was working out that I was gluten intolerant, which is the main ingredient in monosodium glutamate. And I was curious to know if you've since discovered if there was any other intolerances that you had that might have contributed to your health journey.
I don't know. It was an experiment all the time to figure out, because I would eat what I want and do what I had a high metabolism. I mean, I was always working out and I was staying active. But you know, as much candy and ice cream as I had, I should have weighed 300 pounds. But um, I, I, the MSG, that happened because of the strokes, because it changed my body, physiology of my body or something. And I'm past it now. I can have it now. So um, I don't really have any allergies I can speak of. I mean, if anything, I have a low tolerance to, you know, I've had surgeries on my knees, so they put you out. You don't, for a guy my size, I don't need much to put me out. So we used to tell doctors, and they said, my God, we used about half the dosage that we'd normally use in a guy your size to knock you out for the surgery. So that's one thing that has stayed with me now. But other than that, I can pretty much eat what I want and do what I want. But I guess I just had that phase to go through, I guess, when I was going through my recovery. But I didn't drive for 3 years. I couldn't be in a car. I couldn't be in a car with all cars going by. I couldn't be in a room at a restaurant with people talking. It was too much for my brain. My brain was trying to heal itself, and all this external stuff going on. You know, you see it with little kids. They're going to a restaurant, they just knock out because they can't handle all the noise and stuff that's going on around them. So to me, it was a tough road to come back and get back on. But one of my favorite passions is golf, and I couldn't wait to get back to golfing. So it's about 9 months into my recovery where I wanted to try golfing, and my balance was getting to a point where I said I got to try it. And it was about a year after that, there was a magazine article came out in a health magazine talking about stroke survivors. They said one thing to do is golf, because of the eye-hand coordination, the balance, all this stuff. And I'm going, I'm already doing it. So I guess I was ahead of the ball curve on that one. But I think that helped me a lot, you know. But I think my age helped and the physical fitness level I was in at that time. If I'd have been an 80-year-old guy getting those strokes, it probably would have been a different story.
Yeah, we might be doing the Kevin Sorbo obituary special today.
Yeah, you know, so I count my blessings, trust me.
Kevin, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Laban and I have suffered a baby loss through multiple miscarriages and an ectopic pregnancy. And I know that you, Sam, went through the similar situation with your twins. I just wanted to know what would be your greatest advice how to get through this situation. I know it might be a blessing from one side, but sometimes it gets me and it puts me down. What would be your advice?
Well, you know, I don't have a magic bullet for that. I mean, it was brutal when it happened to us. I mean, we were in our 4th month, and usually when you get by the 3rd month, it's not clear sailing. But when we entered the 4th month, that's when I called up my parents. Actually, I was at my parents' house, and I told them, you know, we had the first sonogram and all that kind of stuff. And I said, "What's the name?" I'm from Minnesota originally. By the way, you guys have done your homework. I'm impressed. But I told my parents, I said, being from the state of Minnesota, our Major League Baseball team is called the Minnesota Twins. So I said to my mom, I said, "So what is the name of the Minnesota baseball team again?" She goes, "Well, you twins, of course, you know." "Oh my God, you're having twins!" And she just totally freaked out, you know. And then we were all celebrating, we're all happy. And then like 2.5 weeks later, when we went back to the doctor said, "I think we have a problem here." And it's a loss. You feel the loss, because the minute my wife was pregnant, and the minute you're pregnant yourself, you know that there's a life there inside of you. You know that there's something there that's growing, whether it's a female or a male. You know there's a life there. And as tough as it was on me, I think it's tougher on the woman. And she had to have that DNC surgery, that did not carry surgery and stuff. And it was brutal, you know. And we were fortunate to get pregnant again and have Shane. And Shane was 12 pounds, 6 ounces. So that's like a stone, right? 13 pounds.
Oh my God, father.
She was huge. My wife was huge. I mean,
it's the biggest baby I've ever heard of in my life.
Oh,
it's still a record at the hospital. It's still a record at the hospital that we were at. And they had to do an emergency C-section because there's no way the baby was coming out that way. And I just remember how big my wife was. My wife's name is Sam, as you know. And with Braden, our first child, she ate so healthy. I mean, it was nothing but vegetables and just healthy salmon. That was it. And it was pretty easy. I mean, it took a while. We walked around the hospital. It was about how hot was it that day in August? I think it was 120 degrees that day, which is, I don't know, 50 degrees.
Pretty hot, yeah, about 50.
Hot. So we thought walking around the hospital would help, and it did help. We walked like a couple blocks around, went in, and like 5 or 6 pushes, and the baby came out. Well, with Shane, she was so big. She gained, I think she gained like 75 pounds. Like, so from the side, she looked like half of the vitamin C capsule, you know, if you have taken a full capsule, just as half a capsule. So I call her Samu, the killer whale, which I don't think she appreciated. but the baby started moving to her side. Like, if I'm sure you've had Charlie horses, like I've had them in my thighs and in my calves, and they are so painful. And I know this was 10 times worse. And I just ran for the nurse. I called her. The nurse came in. The nurse looked at my wife, and she, you know, they're supposed to be cool and calm, but her face, she went, I'm going to get the nurse. And she ran out to get, the doctor. She ran out to get the doctor right away. We got to get you in right now. Did emergency surgery, emergency C-section. So I sat there and watched the whole alien thing, the baby coming out of the stomach and everything. I was able to watch it because it was my kid. I don't know if I could watch somebody else's kid. And I just could tell the kid was huge. And they put him on the scale because, trust me, as a father, you're going to follow that kid wherever he goes. And his head was off the scale and his feet were off the scale. I took a picture, and they ended up putting in People magazine. They said, son of Hercules, setting a record for the size and stuff. And he's now 6'3", but he's just like skinny, just like little solid little like runner muscle, you know. But both my kids, my oldest 19, I'm 6'3", so the other one's 6'3". My oldest now 19 is 6'5". So he's taller than me now, and he lets me know. But when I went back into my wife, laughing and crying at the same time, I whispered in her ears and I said, our twins came back as one baby. So we got the 13 pounds right there, you know. So it's become fun for my wife when she does meet people that have twins. She says, how much did they weigh combined? Because this one weighs more than almost every twin parents that we've met combined at birth. So it was, but I'll tell you, they get back to what you said. I mean, I think prayer is a good thing, and you got, like you said it yourself, you got to look at it partially as a blessing as well, because obviously something was wrong there, you know. And nature has an amazing way of taking care of itself. But we just, you know, when you love something so much, it's so hard to really want to let go and understand that part. But yeah, you have to. I mean, it's, you know, it's tough to live in the past. And as I said, that was a roadblock you guys had to go through. I mean, I think of my high school girlfriend. That was really my first girlfriend. It was the love of my life. We dated for 3 years through high school and college. And her husband had 7 miscarriages. And I can't imagine having to go through that time and time again. But, you know, I think with time and I think stress is a big factor in life too. And I think you got to find a way just to, like, you know, I'm a firm believer. I just got done working out, so I'm still kind of drying to my hair here, but I still work out every day. I think working out, I think stretching, I think yoga, meditation, I think all those things are important. I tell people who say I have a hard time getting to bed at night. Mm-hmm. I said, you know what? Get down on your floor and by your bed, throw on the TV or something, or put on music or whatever. Stretch for 20 minutes. Just stretch. It relaxes your body, you know, and sip tea or something. But I think there's so much anxiety, there's so much hate and anger in our world right now. COVID, all this other stuff. It's just people are just getting fed up. We're at a tipping point right now, and I see it here in America now. You know, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, and you question all these authorities because the hypocrisy of it all is starting driving us crazy. And I'm sure it's doing the same for you guys down there.
Well, we've just gone into another 5-day stage 4 lockdown over here, Kevin, which means no 5-kilometer radius around the house, 1 hour or 2 hours a day for exercise, shopping, like for a few cases. And as a result, you know, Anna and I are actually relocating to Queensland, to the Sunshine Coast later this year. We've got family up there, and it's a little less crazy out there, you know.
You can't hide from this thing. I don't dismiss the fact that it's contagious, but I look at the numbers, and the average age dying is over 80. It's 81 years old, and they all have pre-existing conditions. Are there other cases that will dispute that? Sure, there are, but the vast majority are people that are elderly, people that have pre-existing conditions, whether it's asthma or cancer or, you know, previous stroke or whatever it may be, heart problems. And to sit there and hide from this thing doesn't make any sense. Everywhere I'm reading, even the World Health Organization and the Center for Disease Controls say that if you get it, there's a 99.7% chance you'll survive it. So if in America, we've had flu vaccines since Well, for 79 years now, okay, almost 80 years, we've had a flu vaccine. And every year we average 50,000 people who are dying from a flu with a vaccine. You need to develop, all our lives, mankind has been exposed to viruses and things. You need to develop these herd immunity that I had to talk about. You can't hide from it. And all these lockdowns do is lengthen it, because once you take it down and people go back out again and go to a rugby match or go to whatever, they're going to spread it around again. Well, these kids in masks, when I see 5-year-old kids wearing masks, to me, that's child abuse. This is ridiculous. I mean, I love to see the numbers worldwide. How many children have passed away from COVID? It's probably it's probably less than the flu. I mean, and like I said, I'm not saying that this is not a real thing. Of course it is. But I think there's more to it. I think they're using fear as a weapon to control our lives. And I see what all the businesses that have gone under. I mean, we have our big companies here like Walmart and Costco and Target. They're still open. But if you're a mom and pop grocery store going on your 4th generation of owning a store, you're not essential. We got to close you down. It's unbelievable what we're doing to people. And this is all about controlling over our lives right now.
Yeah, well, I know you've been super vocal about that, Kevin. I know you've copped a bit of flack, or a lot of flack, and I know that just the other day they shut down your Facebook account. And I know you're a proud American, freedom of speech, and what sort of impact on you and your family does that feeling where you feel like you're being it's unconstitutional, you know?
Well, people are filled. We have so many people filled with hate and anger. I think to get in the psychology of these people, these trolls, these cancel culture people, I really honestly think they hate their lives. They hate their jobs that they have one. They hate their relationships that they have one. So what they want to do is misery loves company. They want to drag anybody down. And I'm a guy that's known around the world, you know. So for them to sit there and get me canceled in something, they take pride in that. This is pure evil out there right now. But these are sick individuals that more than anything, they need us to pray for them. And try to reach out to them. But I mean, nobody comes up to me when I'm walking through the airport or hotel lobbies or restaurants and say, the only people come up to me and say, we love what you're doing. We love your movies. We love that you do movies that have faith, that have hope, that have redemption and love, have laughter, all these things. Those are the kind of movies I want to do. There's so much hate and anger in every movie coming out there right now. You know, everything deals with violence and just weirdness. Yeah, I like a good zombie movie too, but okay. You know, can we have movies that have some reality in it too? That people that are, I think most people are good people, but it doesn't take much in today's society for these punks, these cyber bullies, because that's what they are, to destroy people's lives with lies. They don't know anything about me. They know nothing about me. They know me as this guy who played this actor in these different shows, but beyond that, they know nothing about me. And it's incredibly frustrating for Facebook to take me down for what? I post out there, okay, this is what this doctor says about COVID. This is what this person is saying about our election here in America. And you get taken down. I said, what are your thoughts? You know, I post stuff that's got a lot of truth to it, a lot of humor to it. But, you know, Facebook, for whatever reasons, has become bigger than our government. And to me, it's sad that we're letting these people get away with what they're getting away with. And it's a battle we're going to have to keep fighting, because it makes no sense to me. Our forefathers made the Constitution not for the times. They made it to last forever, to last for time. This country was founded on individuals, not big government. And, you know, you look at America and people can bash all they want, but this is still a country that people come to more than any other country. I mean, we have over 340 million people living here now. Canada was formed the same time we were. Their government formed, they have 30 million people. Okay, and that's a socialist country. But we are now a socialist country as well. And I've got plenty of friends that live here. I lived in Europe for 3.5 years, and I keep in touch with some of these guys over there saying, you know, what's going on in your country is the same thing that happened to us decades ago. And people that have left Europe and come here, coming from Russia, wherever, they're saying, what I see now happening in America is the same thing that happened in my country. And it's sad that we're letting this happen to us. To me, it's like, I scratch my head, but I get more mad that we let these little trolls, these little wimpy guys have this control. I wish they'd come up to my face, not have a fight. I don't need a fight about it, but let's have a discussion about it. I asked them to be brave enough to come up and say, hey, I'm the guy that wanted to take you down because I believe in Marxism, or I believe in whatever. I post stuff out there that's true. When I post stuff about COVID, this is the stuff that the CDC and the World Health Organization is saying, not me. You know, I'm just reposting what they're saying, but I told you, we live in absolutely insane times right now. And people out there are just, look at the violence we have. going on with the destruction of people's businesses and people with baseball bats and guns killing and shooting other people in our streets in the American cities right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's. I mean, being on the receiving end of the news over here, Kevin, I certainly found that it did me no favors getting on there every day trying to figure out code. I just got so infuriated and at times would lose my cool. I'll be totally honest. So the best thing I've done is just cut out a lot of that stuff as much as I can, which is still a challenge at times. But I suppose for you and your family, I know you moved to Florida not that long ago, and would you ever consider buying a place in New Zealand and just disappearing off the face of the earth?
No, my dream has always been. I've said this for years. After Hercules finished, I did a show up in Canada, and I hope Canadians won't take us a blast to them. I love Canada. When I talked earlier about their population compared to ours, I think it's just too cold for a lot of people up there. I mean, the guys I play golf with down here, all three of them are Canadian guys. So, but I love Vancouver, and I shot Andromeda up there for 5 years. But if I could get another 7-year series in New Zealand, I've been saying this for the last dozen years, easy. I would do it in a second, and I would retire down there. I would just say that's where I would stay. I loved it down there. I had a blast. The only tough thing for me was the last 2 years of my series, just fighting through my illness. It sucked. I mean, I joke about how I wouldn't wish what happened to me on my worst enemy. Then I say, well, I'd give it to the Taliban. They could have it. They can have it. But beyond that, the last 2 years was too bad for me because my crew was awesome, and we laughed every day on that set. It was such a blessing to be on that show. And the only problem I had was Peter Jackson telling me at the Lord of the Rings. I went to the Lord of the Rings party at the Academy Awards, and he said, your show really started the industry in our country in terms of a bigger scale, in terms of training people from extras to camera guys to lighting, whatever it may be. And I said, well, that's nice to hear, Peter, but you've never put me in one of your movies.
Did he ever say why?
I said, come on, man. But the biggest mistake I made, I think, down there was not getting dual citizenship. When I was down there, I met with the Prime Minister at the time, was Jenny Shipley.
Yeah, Dame Jenny Shipley, yeah.
And I know we talked about it. And she didn't really follow through with it. It wasn't her fault, but I didn't really follow through. It was really my fault. And I should have got dual citizenship. I lived there for 7 years. And I think one of the things they sort of required, if you come to New Zealand, you got to bring something with you to get jobs. Well, we created about 700 jobs down there. And I think over 7 years brought well over $250 million into the country. So I blew it because that would have I could have worked in Australia, Canada, Scotland, Ireland, England, all part of the Commonwealth. So I kicked myself for not doing that at that time. That was not a good business move on my part. And I always say I'm a good businessman, but I blew it there.
I've still got her phone number, Kevin, if you want it. I truly do. I invited her on the show last year, but she had too much going on. I mean, who would have thought the former Prime Minister would have too much going on? But
no, that's amazing. Tell her to make me a citizen.
I'm sure we can manage that. Kevin, we're very respectful of your time. Do you have any concluding thoughts before we wrap this up?
Yeah, you know what? Go to SorboFamilyFilmStudios.com. SorboFamilyFilmStudios.com. Please have everybody sign up there, get your information. We do have a lot of stuff coming out. We're always looking for fundraisers. It's hard to raise. The movies I do in the 3-4 million range, that sounds like a lot of money. That's like catering budget on Avatar or Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are $300 million movies. So, and like I said before, we do movies that have a good message and have a solid message of hope and love and faith. And we're hoping more people will want to jump on board. And I'm going to give you a quick view of my backyard here, so you can see the paradise that I moved to here in Florida. If you can see the lake we live on here.
For our listening audience, he's just showed us paradise. Looks like something out of a Greek god.
It's pretty good. We just moved in. We still got boxes all over the house right now. So we're still settling in. We've only been here for about 2 weeks, but we've been looking for a long time out here, and this is just it's been amazing.
Well, we really enjoyed your Let There Be Light movie last night. It's not a movie I would ordinarily watch, but Anna was bawling her eyes out at the end, and so you definitely nailed that one, Kevin.
Oh, thank you. I directed that one as well, and I got another one coming out called Miracle in East Texas, and it's got John Ratzenberger in it, and Lou Gossett Jr. and Tyler Mane. People that know Tyler Mane from the WWF. He's a 6'9" wrestler guy, but he's also Sabretooth in all the X-Men movies.
Yeah,
And
brilliant.
that was my wife in that movie. Played my ex-wife in the movie.
Wow.
Fantastic.
That was Sam, and those are my two boys in that one as well. So more to come, guys. More to come. Hey guys, Kevin Sorbo here, and I just finished an interview with the Laban Ditchburn. He's awesome. He's great. He's fair. He's well versed, and I got to tell you one thing. He was incredibly prepared. He did his history on me. I was blown away by some of the things I didn't even know that he knew about. So, or anybody knew about, for that matter. So it was awesome. So highly recommend it, and he's a good mate. All the best.